Hey everyone, real quick, just want to talk momentarily about the passage of the healthcare bill. Wasn't a surprise to me because the government's power to tax, that is the federal government, is so broad and unlimited they could pretty much do anything. I mean, between the Commerce Clause and the taxing powers, I mean, they could make you get a license to own a computer, maintain the license to own a computer, and charge you an annual use tax to have a computer. And I imagine if they tried doing that, there'd be a revolution. But I I really think that it's a horrible thing. I don't like it for the economics. Obviously, it makes no sense as a baseline from now because the government's broke, people are broke. As a generality, everybody is in total debt. It's unaffordable, and the process is untenable for the obvious reasons. Um, Everybody has different levels of health, and taking money from one group of people for the other groups of people's health needs is immoral, it's theft, it's no more charitable than if you were to go into your neighbor's house, steal his TV, and sell it just so that you can donate that money to a charity. It's theft at the end of the day. And it also removes the free choice of individuals who would prefer not to pay for an insurance plan because they live more healthy lives. Um, and it overall doesn't make anything better. It's just forcing people to buy health insurance. It's not a fix. At the end of the day, the calculus is this: something costs something. Somebody has a certain amount of money, and you can't pool money together and wave a magic wand over it and pretend like you can cover the expenses of everybody if those expenses are higher than the income. And it's pretty obvious if you haven't already. Take a look at insurance generally or other countries. If you have a population that is very unhealthy, which America's population is, especially compared to most European nations, the problems that are going to ensue from those health issues and the coverage for it are just not going to match up. So it's not tenable. There isn't going to be perfect coverage. It's going to be a kind of a farce, just like a lot of insurance can be at times. You pay a lot of money to somebody, you may not always get the coverage you want or need. Which is why I very much prefer rational, real savings, which is invest your money in something, use the monies from that to pay for what you need. Outside that, future challenges. Dissent mentioned 10th Amendment very briefly. The majority didn't really address it because they just went, it's not Commerce Clause because you're being forced into commerce, and so it can't be ruled through that because commerce is about regulating pre-existing activity. So they went with taxing. The dissent, they just went their historical basis. But since they didn't really cover the 10th Amendment, I imagine some states would like to, and I hope they do, rule some legislation to not enforce it or to say we're exempt. Then we get a new challenge that will be very sweet. So I hope some states do that, and I hope that, there was quite a number of states who followed the initial petition and wrote some amicus briefs. So, but that's pretty much it at this point. You either going to have to repeal it through legislation or through nullification or through revolution. 3 options. And I don't think too many people are ready to pick up arms. I don't think enough people in the military are going to recognize state sovereignty. So it's going to be tough, no matter what way you cut it. But yeah, if you have any questions or thoughts, it's terrible. The economics on it are just untenable. Just between current debt and everybody's actual health problems and meeting that need, it's just silly. And there's really not much else to it. You can't force minimums or maximums onto something that requires adjustment due to your conditions. You know, that's the economics of insurance, is they have to address people individually, and if we're going to take any cues from Medicare, Medicaid, there's just going to be a total loss. You know, doctors, as it is, you know, take significantly less of a fee if you pay in cash as opposed to insurance, because they'll spend, you know, especially with government, you know, 6 months wrestling trying to get a payment, and when they get a payment, sometimes it's at cost. And so, you know, their government is not magic. They're not angels. They're, you know, it's not voodoo. It's, they have money or they don't, and if they don't have money and they are still spending it, that means there's debt, and there's debt, that means there's collection. If there's collection, that means chances are there's going to be some force. There's going to be some wars. There's going to be some eminent domain. There's going to be some IRS you know, taking people's stuff. So foreclosing. So it's going to get nasty. And, you know, aside, I think we're going to see after this election a real bad collapse with the American economy. Because as it is, it's total debt. Like there is nothing. Like if you look at everybody's cars and stuff like that, just imagine it as dust. You know, their cars, their houses, their effects. The average person is under the water as far as their assets. In other words, actually owned assets to liabilities. You know, business 101. You're in the hole, and America's in the hole. And even if you're not individually, the government is, by having exercised their wrongful and evil right as your agent to spend on your behalf. So if you're mad, you know, you gotta do something about it. You gotta talk to your friends, talk to your family. The closest thing I can do that's real to say it's realistic is begin advocating nullification. Get your, you know, urge your state representative with everybody in your state to say we're not enforcing this, and then try to get it repealed. Those are the only two things that I think are semi-realistic, but unlikely. I mean, if you look at the history of government regulation, there is a trend. Doesn't matter if you're conservative or liberal, whatever, Democrat, Republican, legislation doesn't get repealed. There's laws that are passed that have sunset clauses, you know, tax deductions, stuff like that, but they don't repeal agencies. If there's dependents, it doesn't get repealed because people like having a check, and then those people that are dependents on the government's teat tend to wage war, both physically and mentally, on those who try to take away those benefits. That's how the government operates, actually. I mean, now I'm getting into a whole other thing, but I might as well just mention it real quick. The government, just like any, I guess, slave owner, wants to get dependents on it. People that are beholden to the government by being given, by being given benefits, and then getting those people to fight the people who are non-dependents or people who are independent. Keep this perpetual war waged. And that way the government has people to fight on its behalf. Alright, well, take care, guys, and I'll talk to you later.